I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask Podcast Live. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. As you know, I always like to give you some very supportive and helpful resources that are going throughout the community that you may be limited to because, you don't know where it's at or you haven't heard of it or you haven't had the availability to read about it. So today we have a very, very I want to say all of our guests are good. Okay, so I can't say very, very good and all that kind of stuff, but I can tell you this. This is one of those touching subjects that when it comes to cancer, we always have a concern about how one gets this type of cancer, what's the research on it, what's the, medication waiver, support group. There's a whole dynamics with this particular type. So we have wonderful guests coming today to express to us about what we call the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and we have the outreach community, a specialist, Sidnei Austin, to join us. So let's bring Miss Sidnei Austin in. Good afternoon, Sidnei Austin.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for joining us. I mean, it's very important, Sidney, that I get that information out that, a lot of people who are going through something, especially and let me ask you this, is this considered cancer of the blood?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
okay. So I wanted to get that right because even though we know there's, numerous ways that cancer attacks a person, this one in particular, people are definitely, unfamiliar with because it's like, how do you get it? This is my blood. Where does this come from? So I just want you to start off a little bit about yourself as the community outreach specialist, and then let's go into what is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society all about.
So I'm Sidney Austin. I am the community outreach specialist with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. We are a national organization, and our program that I run specifically is called Myeloma Link, which is in 16 different cities throughout the country, from Houston to Raleigh, North Carolina, Cincinnati, here in Detroit, and these are predominantly Black cities. And I'm really passionate about this. My own grandmother has multiple myeloma, which is a type of blood cancer, and which is the reason why I got into this type of work too.
Okay. Okay. So for our audience sake, I mean, we have some footage that we're going to bring up, but for our audience sake, one thing they don't know is why should the audience be concerned about blood cancer?
Well, blood cancer affects anyone and everyone at any age. It doesn't have a rhyme or reason to it, unlike things like breast cancer or prostate cancer, where it might be genetic or it might be hereditary and run in the family. There are a lot of instances where people have no knowledge of a family history of leukemia or multiple myeloma. And so that's probably one of the bigger reasons why people should care about it. And also, too, blood cancers are a little bit more rare and not as
Mm-hmm.
easily to be diagnosed. Um,
That's the biggest fear.
Other cancers
Yeah, that's one
are.
of the biggest fear because people, you go to the doctor, you get checked out and everything, you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden he's saying, you might have some symptoms here that we need to check into, something dealing with your blood. So, can you provide an overview of the different types of blood cancers that impact our people?
Yeah, so there are so many different types of blood cancers and diseases that we do focus on as an organization. I will say the most predominant ones are the leukemias, the lymphomas, non Hodgkin lymphomas, multiple myeloma, and then a plethora of other um, blood diseases
Mm-hmm.
as well. Um, an overview of kind of what that looks like, general signs and symptoms. It can be a rash that won't go away. It could be anemia, which causes, or being anemic, which causes cold hands and cold feet, extreme fatigue. It could be back pain
Now
that
a
just
lot of
won't go
those
away.
fit a lot of ailments. So let's not
Right,
scare everybody because a lot of people are
right,
like, wait a minute, that's something else too. So,
right.
And I
So
and
with that,
I didn't want to cut you off, but you know what? We have a lot of symptoms that look like two or three different things. But I do know if a person goes to their doctor and they get some blood work done, first and foremost, that's one of the ways you can find out early on, ladies and gentlemen. In your concerns, if you have any kind of conditions dealing with your blood, because a lot of the things that you were just saying, symptoms, are related to numerous types of conditions. And somebody's like, oh, I got fatigue, oh, I got cold hands, cold feet, oh, my back hurt. So we really don't, and I understand. Now, I wanted to go into some of the slides that we have here. So, empowering Black communities with myeloma support. Tell us a little bit about that.
so multiple myeloma is a type of blood cancer that affects. We're starting to see Black people are more likely to get. We are twice as likely to be diagnosed with multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma is a cancer of your plasma cells. Now, I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
doctor, so I can't tell you exactly the science behind that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something that's affecting Black people, and it is affecting our Black men at younger stages
Okay.
um, too. So this program that we do is really centered towards the Black community so that we can be up to date, we can know and be knowledgeable about our health, and we can advocate for ourselves in that doctor's office.
So
Um,
when is it time to talk to the doctor, though? I mean, at what point do you think a
definitely.
patient should talk to the doctor?
Yeah. So some of those symptoms that I was listing off, the best time would be if you're seeing multiple of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've gone to your doctor and some of those symptoms just won't go away, regardless of the work that they've done, it might be time to then ask your doctor to look deeper into that.
Okay. All right. So I know you have provided us with a chart here, and I wanted
Mhm.
to ask about this chart. So this is a statistical chart. Tell us about this chart.
So multiple myeloma is not curable as of yet. It is a manageable cancer, but as of now, there is no cure, and it's one of the rarer forms of blood cancer there is.
Mm.
So, more than 138,000 people are currently living or in remission with multiple myeloma in the United States. And there's usually a life cycle that they go through with that. So it will be, they get diagnosed. They could be, depending on their health, they can have different types of treatment. And then they can go into remission and be in remission for a period
Okay.
of time. And then depending on their health or just the disease in itself, they can go back and need treatment again. So it's a constant cycle that people will be going through if they have multiple myeloma.
Okay. So I switched over to the survival rate here. The 5-year survival rate of myeloma is about 50%, and is projected to claim more than 13,000 U.S. lives in 2023. So now this chart here, this is kind of a scary chart here. Okay, people looking at this chart like, "Are you kidding me?" So tell us about the chart.
So currently, that is the survival rate again, but it is becoming, as time goes on, it is becoming manageable. The length of time that people are living with this and not passing from it is increasing year by year. So while it may be scary, it is something to rest in and know that there are treatments that are being passed through each year to make sure that people will stay healthy and will be continue to live with us. Um, Another part of that is that average age to be diagnosed is about 69 years to 70 years for the quote unquote average person who has it.
Let me
But we
go
see
back to
with
that.
Black
Mm-hmm.
males,
Mm-hmm.
that age gets lower to 65
Okay.
too.
Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had switched over. I'm sorry. So this chart here, where approximately 31,000 individuals in the U.S. will be diagnosed, um, is that relating to the age of the age chart that we talked about just a moment ago?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So you got approximately 100 and 1,070 Michiganders will be diagnosed. Okay. And that's in this year. This
Yes.
year in particular. Okay, and approximately 450 Michiganders will die from melanoma this year. Okay, so this statistics itself is kind of like, to be honest with you, it'll put a person in fear, but a person should know that they got time to go get checked out, get treatment, and start to do maintenance on themselves so that they can, is quote unquote, control this condition since there's
Yes.
no cure. Okay, all
Right.
right. And that's mainly what we want to know is that, is my mother you always say, you're going to leave here with something. Okay, we know that, but we're trying to avoid leaving here too soon. So since you
Hmm.
said there is no real cure, it's about maintenance and keeping it under control. Okay, okay,
Right.
okay.
And really being on top of your health care. Um, I something I heard actually recently is, we like to be in control of
Mm-hmm.
everything else. So why not be in control of our health? Just because we might have a family history of a certain illness, we can be the end to that. We do
Right.
not have to let that go into the other generations. And as long as you stay in control of it, you're going to your doctor every single year. Um, and allowing them to talk to you and then you ask questions and be honest about how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think necessarily this is something to be extremely afraid of.
Okay, okay. So I want to look at some of the signs and symptoms here. Can you go over
Mhm.
this with me a little bit so our viewers will understand some of the signs and symptoms?
Yes. So the signs and symptoms for multiple myeloma, in the healthcare field, we have this acronym known as CRAB. So that C standing for high calcium levels. Again, I am not a a doctor, so I
Okay.
can't exactly give you exactly what that looks
Mm-hmm.
like. But the C is for high calcium levels in your blood. With a simple blood test, your doctor can be able to detect this. R is for that renal failure. So when we think of renals, we're really talking about your kidneys. So
Mm-hmm.
if there has been any type of kidney damage or kidney failure that you have gone through, you might want to talk to your doctor. Um, Anemia, which is being anemic. So I attribute that for people, the cold hands, the cold feet. Anemia also gives you extreme fatigue too. And then the B is for the bone abnormalities. And what multiple myeloma actually does is it creates lesions in your bones. So basically, it's little tiny holes inside your
Okay.
bones, and it makes those bones weak and brittle.
Mm-hmm.
We had one of my managers actually found out that he had multiple myeloma. I'm pretty sure he's in his 50s. So, again, as a black male and he's younger, he found out because he was playing basketball. And I think he hurt his back, and that pain just never went away. He went to
Okay.
physical therapists and it just didn't help. And it's because those lesions were inside his bones, the
Wow.
holes were there
Wow.
too.
It's amazing how we discover things and I mean, like you said, he was playing basketball or, could have been doing something just plain and simple. And when you get hurt or whatever, it's like you finally go see about it, that little nagging, and that little nagging is something more than you even imagine. So, I hope everything turns out all right for him. But that is a very strange way to find out when you have a condition. And that's in any condition, really, because I mean, a cut of the finger can tell you, I'm not healing. I got diabetes and my finger's not healing. It could be anything. And we always think that, because we don't feel sick, we're not sick. So when we shouldn't say the word sick, but just in general, knowing that you have something going on internal and you don't know what it is, and then there's a way on the outside of your body that helps discover the internal situation that's going on. Now, I wanted to go over something because I know somebody's got some questions about finances, help with getting some resources or help with medication waivers. So you have a help with finances listing here. Can you give us a briefing about what this is?
Yes. So at the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we have a ton of free resources that people, either patients who have blood cancer or caregivers, can utilize. And that stems from educational materials, that stems from nutrition consultations, all the way to uh, online support systems like grief support, learning how to manage your cancer. And also, we do have financial help. So, we have several programs that people can enroll in. Some of the programs you might need your doctor or your social worker to enroll in them for you. But one of our biggest ones is a program where anyone who is diagnosed with a blood cancer and or are currently being treated with in treatment for blood cancer, if they not have not gone through this program, they get a free $100 to use for whatever they want to use.
Okay.
So that $100 can be used for copays. That can be used for gas transportation to any of your treatments. My
Right.
one of my higher ups, she used it for getting her wig when she was losing her hair, and she helped
Okay.
uh, have that money pay for her
That
hair.
helps. That
So
helps. I left that screen up a little longer because I know somebody wants the number or information. But, ladies and gentlemen, you can always give us a call here at Just Ask Talk Show, 1-800-323-5336, and we'll get this information right back out to you. So don't look at it like it came and went too fast. You can always call us, and we will definitely send that back out. So, and this show is going to air continuously, so it won't be that, it's a one time interview. So, and I want to thank you, Sidney, because really a lot of people that are going through this particular condition, they're looking for an outlet, they're looking for resources. But let me ask you this: is there any respite care or programs to assist the family? When you're dealing with a patient with the condition, there's other components in the household is probably breaking down too because everybody's upset. So, is there any respite programs or caregiving program services that you guys provide?
So for caregiving in particular, we have workbooks, a huge workbook and binder that will literally take you through the steps of your caregiving journey. As far as respite care is concerned, we do not have that within our organization. However, we do have, and the biggest thing to take away from this is our information resource center. These are specialists, oncology social workers, who will be able to guide you through every step of the way. So if you call our number at that 1-800-955-4572 number, you will get in contact with them. And if we can't help with things like respite care, they can connect you with local resources who will be able to get you the respite care that you need.
Okay, so we didn't have that number posted. So you want to give that number out again?
Yes, I can. It is 1-800-955-4572.
Okay, okay. So we'll add it into the credit rolls because we didn't have that one. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. 'Cause I know somebody's going to want that number. So this last screen here pretty much says a lot too for those who are good with, what's that? Q code. What do they call these things?
QR codes.
QR code. Okay, you can tell how old I am. So really, those who are tech savvy, those are the QR codes. There's the website, and you can get more information when you go through the QR code or check out the website. So
This
LLS Health Manager. And this would be, helpful. So anything particular a person should know about going online to the website or using the QR code?
So if you go online to the website, there that number that I said for the Information Resource Center, that is plastered everywhere, and you can find that. I'll repeat that again. It's that 1-800-955-4572 number. But also on the website, it's a great tool to help you find all of the programs that we have. It also, if you would like to volunteer or
Mm-hmm.
help fundraise, that's a great place to go to as well, and it's very clear and direct. This Health Manager app is a free mobile app that anyone can use, and it will be really helpful for people who want to. I apologize for my dog if you do hear him. Um, it is a app that will help you track your treatments. It will help track your grocery list that you may need or
Mm-hmm.
questions for the doctors that you may have. And it's really great too because any of your caregivers can join this app and have that information for them too, so that if they need to speak on your behalf, it's there.
Okay. Okay. So I heard you say something about volunteers. There's room for volunteers to be involved.
Yes. So we have, at least here in Detroit, we have our ambassadors, as we call them. And these are people who either have a connection with blood cancer or who have no connection at all. And they are really just sharing their talents with the community, and just to spread that their love for the community and share information about blood cancer too. So
Mm-hmm.
if people are interested in doing that, either volunteering by tabling or either being a spokesperson at your local church or community center, we would extremely love that, to have you be a part of that. And
Okay.
you can do that by giving me a call, or you can email me. I can also put my email in the credits as well.
Okay. So I know they can also go through this particular QR code, or and you
Yes.
guys be connected with the resources there. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to volunteer, you want to get some more information about the agency itself, it would be wonderful if you just go to the QR code, or if you have a family member that's savvy, they can help you go online. And I also want to mention, I know you guys cover Michigan and Indiana region.
Yes.
Okay, okay. A lot of people, I know this is you're in Michigan, but if people are in Indiana, they can also use the same agency location to get resources.
Yes, we are a national organization. So we particularly, my manager and I, we cover the Michigan and Indiana region. So
Mm-hmm.
if you do end up calling, you'll be connected with us if you're in either states. But even if you do have family who in Texas, Florida, there are people who will be able to connect you with any and all resources that you need.
Okay, and that's wonderful. It's a lot of excuse me confusion when you're going through something and it's your first time in any health challenges. When your first time awareness, it's like, what do I do now? Who do I call? Who else has this? Who can help me with this? Because your doctor, I always tell people your doctor is your friend, supposedly, because you're paying him. But he's limited, he's got his job to do, and then you have to go outside of him and approach the social workers, the case managers, find the resources that will give you some resolutions to some of the things you do outside of the doctor's office. Because outside of the doctor's office, that's where your life comes into play, your full life. What are you going to do day to day? How do you manage your finances? How do you control your eating habits or nutritional changes, your medication, the cost, the finances? All that takes place when you least expect it, when you come into a health challenge, because you're unaware of all these things that happen when life changes come into play. And so, Sidney, I'm very grateful that you joined us today, because a lot of people who are experiencing this condition in itself are going through it alone emotionally, going through it alone, mentally, and they need to know that there's a resource out there that they can count on, or at least contact and ask questions. And that's why we call it Just Ask. Okay, so that's where we come in. All right. So anything else you want to tell us before we wrap up? Because I appreciate you spending your afternoon with me. So is there anything else you need to tell us that we need to know about? Is it any advocacy efforts that we need to know about, or participation in anything?
Yeah. So biggest takeaway is you can be in control of this. You do not have to let this take you blindsided. And we are here to help you walk through that. We would like to be a part of your community. We do have a program December 16th at the Durfee Innovation Society, and that is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we are actually finalizing everything as we speak this week. And it is an event for caregivers of blood cancer patients.
Okay.
You'll remember this day forever. You'll remember where you were. This day has never been closer. Today, thanks to your help, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is saving lives. LLS-funded research has led to nearly every blood cancer treatment available and is now helping patients with other kinds of cancer. At LLS, beating cancer is in our blood. Join us at lls.org.
So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we want to thank Sidnei Austin for coming to join us, and I definitely want you to go to the website, lls.org, or give them a call at 248-581-3903, and you can ask Miss Sidnei any more questions that you think that she can answer for you without a doubt. So, on top of that, you can always catch us on Channel 56 every Wednesday at 5:30 a.m. Don't miss that. And if you do, you got all the cable stations: Comcast Detroit, Comcast Southfield, Birmingham, Bloomfield, Lake Orion, Wide Open West Troy. Oh, what did I say? Did I miss anybody, Lance? If I did, sorry guys, but I'll come back around. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in. And as I always say, or what do I always say? If you have a question about a person with a disability, or if you just have a general question, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host. See you next time.